cry out to your Father, the Father that forgives. And in Luke 15, verse 24, it was that Father that when his son came back, he wholeheartedly opened his arms and welcomed his son back, because he was like, yes, like, my son is back. Hey, my name is Amanda, and thank you for tuning in to my video. I know you did not come here by mistake. This is clearly for a reason, and I'm here to share my testimony. I just want to keep it real. There was a season in my life where I was walking in shame. I was a lukewarm when it came to my faith. And it's the weirdest, the hardest, the most itty-grittiest type of topic to talk about, especially a woman walking with Christ. It's lust. Lust. And it all started just basically when, as a girl, my mind was open to certain things. And if you guys see me looking down, it's because I'm looking at my notes, because I clearly had to organize it. That's just the way my brain works. I was a little girl. I was exposed to things that basically opened my eyes, made me curious, made me want to, know more. And of course, that ended up being something that I was starting to look up. And when you start looking up things, you start seeing things on your feed. You want to, it gives you, it builds that adrenaline to just go out and look into it. So as a girl not growing up with her father, and I know we hear this a lot, daddy issues, it's a thing. So I started off seeking validation from men. And those validations wasn't the validations I needed, because as a believer at the time, I was in church, but I was in and out, and I was slowly going with other relatives. It was just like I was going just to get an attendance. I wasn't going for a purpose. I wasn't going to know much. I was just going just to go. So my validation was in men. I found myself dipping and dabbing in situationships that did not honor God, and it clearly made me draw farther from him. I was deep in it. When I say I was deep in it, I was lost. I had a relationship as a teenager until my early 20s, and that relationship, of course, I experienced certain things. I did certain things, and I wasn't proud of it, of course. Now being 25, I know that was not the way to go. I knew that wasn't something that God wanted me doing, neither for this person. I knew that this is what we weren't supposed to do this. But I found myself feeling like that was the only way that I had to go. That was the only thing, because at that age, I was hearing friends talk about what they were experiencing. I was hearing other people talk about what they were seeing and how this was fun to them. And this, so I wanted, of course, at the time to experience it for myself. And that's what I went ahead and did. And when I did that, I can tell you, I felt completely lost. I felt broken. I felt like, okay, now if I did this, then you have to be my husband. Boy, did I lie. Did I lie? But at that time, of course, 18-year-old me was telling myself that we're gonna be together forever. We're gonna be together forever. I did this. It's no way that is not gonna. We're together forever. That didn't happen. You know what I mean? My relationships, and of course, as a girl, I know right now I'm not being approached by men, but it was this part of my life when I got out of that relationship, I ended up dipping and dabbling in situationships where these people weren't pursuing me in the right way. They weren't validating me because they seen me as a woman that, that they wanted to be with. They did not see me as that. They see me as a piece of just body and just a number to them. Just a number to put on their body count. Like, that's all it looked like for them. And I knew that, but I told myself at the time, if a guy sees me, he approaches me, he likes me, he claims that he likes me, he tells me that he likes me, he compliments me. And I always tell girls at this age, do not be easily fazed by a guy just telling you that you're beautiful, you're this and that. And I feel the same way for guys. Any girls can have the hard eyes and all that for you, but who's your person, you know what I mean? I'm not saying every person that you any person that you come across, that's going to be your husband or that's going to be your wife. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying, when you know. And I knew that it wasn't that. And I found myself going down a hill after that first relationship. I was seeking validation. I was in and out of clubs, and the fast life was something that's all I knew. I wanted instant gratification, and if I wasn't in a situationship, I was looking elsewhere just to feed this lust, this temptation I was having. And the relationships weren't going good. The situationships weren't good. They weren't healthy. I found myself in physical abuse, emotional abuse. I found myself trying to cope by just using my body to this person, and just going about my day and stressing, like, going ahead and just being down in my sorrows, going through my emotions, going through the off things that I did not like that was going on in my life right at that moment. I drifted away from the Lord, and I was dealing with unequally yoked relationships. And as I kept getting in those situationships, I moved farther from God. Like, I did not want to talk to him. At a point, I was not even claiming myself as a Christian. I kept telling myself, like, I am not worthy of anything when it comes to God. I'm not worthy of his grace. I'm not worthy of his love. I'm not worthy of these guys' love that's on this earth. What makes you think that you can't? Like, and I want to tell anyone that's going through the same thing, that's afraid to talk about it, there is freedom in you being honest. There's freedom in the truth. There's freedom when you're repenting. There's freedom in that, because you're saying that you need help. And at a point, I was not admitting that I needed help. I was not admitting that I was struggling with lust. I was not admitting that things happened to me when I was a kid. I wasn't admitting that I was struggling with certain things that I couldn't get away from, and things that like emotionally I had no control of. I wasn't being truthful to people. I was just wearing this mask, and this mask caused me to dib and dab in things that I had no business dealing with. But I got to experience things that at the age of 25 now, you can't pay me to go experience again. Like, I wasn't missing out on nothing. Like, I'm right here. I wasn't missing out on anything. If I knew I could sit down and talk to little Amanda, I would tell her that you are loved, and now I can say this, you are loved. Your validation is not in men. Your validation is not what this person says or how they say it or how they look at you, because they give you those Google eyes. That's not it. That's not it. Your identity is in him. He already knew you before he made you. If I could sit her down and tell her you did not have to do the things that you did. You did not have to be in the places you were at. You did not have to see those things. I wish I could tell her that. But how was my relationship with God at the time? When I was in these unequally yoked relationships, and I will say lustful relationship, because it was only based on lust. It was not love. I knew it wasn't love, but I kept saying that this is love. I gave my body, this is love. Like, he loves me. Like, emotionally, I'm right now, I'm like, girl, no. I was a girl that would put everything on the line when it came to these situationships. Like, I would break my routines. I would stop hanging out with friends. I was like, yeah, I was one of those girls. Like, yeah, just to go deal with something that had nothing to do with me. Like, trying to be the peacemaker on someone. Like, this wasn't even my husband. This wasn't even someone that could be a father of my child. This wasn't even someone that spoke life into me. This was not someone that brought me closer to Jesus. This was completely someone that was drawing me farther away. And every time I find myself bringing the word of God, like trying to, speak into them, like, let's do this the right way. Let's not do this. They would look at me as if I had something on my forehead that wanted to make them run away. That's how they would look at me every time I tried to, tell them, no, we're not doing this. This is not what I want to do. I feel like we should draw closer to the Lord. This is how I feel I'm being convicted right now. I feel like this is not the right way. I'm losing myself mentally. I feel like lonely, even though I'm here with you right now. I feel alone. And that's what I knew, that this wasn't of God. I was sleeping with this man, going back home and feeling completely alone, feeling disgusting, struggling with the lustful thoughts throughout my day, because that's the only time I felt comfort. I felt comfort in something that gave me satisfaction just for the moment. And then I go back into my normal days and I'm thinking of it just to give me instant gratifications throughout my day. That's not how I like to live. If I can go through Monday through Friday, Saturday, they go Sunday, go to church, back down again, down, sad. And one thing about me, when I found myself deep in my sin, I was far away from the church. I wasn't even touching the church. I wasn't staying with community. And back in 2022, when I did get saved, when I willingly said, God, I am tired. I'm giving you everything. I said, I'm tired of this. Take this out of me. I'm tired of thinking about these thoughts. I'm tired of acting on these thoughts. I'm tired of worshiping and idolizing these men. Why am I doing that? They clearly show me that I'm not the one. Why am I continuing to give them the time and not giving you the time when you've been with me helpless in numerous times? But no, I had things around me that I shouldn't have had that contribute to my lustful thoughts. I had reminders of the things. And when I say the things, like I had things that I shouldn't have had in my place at the time. I wasn't even living alone. I had things around me that reminded me of certain people that brought me into the mindset to just go and hit up someone. And instead of me going to ask for help, or when I say help, like confessing to someone what was actually going on, I would feed the sin. And when I was feeding the sin, I wouldn't even go ahead and just sometimes even physically act on it. I rather isolate myself because I was so wrecked. I was not delivered. I felt like there was no way you could restore me. There was no way you could fix me. There was no other way as a woman that could express this thing, because it was something that I felt like we knew men would talk about. We knew men could talk about porn addictions. And sorry, this is for the audience that, can watch this. Men can talk about porn addiction. They could talk about lustful thoughts. They could talk about how they view other, like when they see women. But when you hear a woman talk about it, it's like everyone gives you that eye. And that's what my fear was when people gave you that eye, because I could just sit down and like, I'm fine. And then the thoughts come back to my mind. And I'm just like, God, I thought we got over this. I thought I prayed about this. Like, I'm staying away from him. Like, why is he coming back to my mind? Like, why is this? And I was never delivered from it. I was never speaking the left. No one was ever speaking to me because I was never confessing. I was just thinking that, it would go as I kept going to church. I think, that they would just go away as I kept, being around the right people. I limited the people that I was going in and out of the clubs with, but I was still dealing with the same things, like still dealing with the same people that reminded me of the past. So it's like I was trying to take some parts out, to eliminate some things, trying to make it look like it was easier, but it wasn't, and still dealing with other people on the side that continuously was not where I was supposed to be, and like I was not supposed to be dipping and dabbing in that area, which I continue to do. I was the girl that was idolizing the guys. I always found myself upset with God and also with myself. I was at a point upset with God because I'm like, you see my heart, you see how genuine I'm trying to be. You see that I just want to have this one person. I want them to view me like I'm just the woman of their dreams. I want them to see that, so I don't have to go and focus on someone else. And then and there was a moment where I had to say, like, Amanda, you have to understand that you're playing a big part of what is going on right now. As a person that never had a father with her, I never had a father figure that sat me down and told me how I was loved, how I was beautiful, how I didn't deserve or needed to put myself in spaces to feel validated by a man. I never had that. So it was hard for me to believe that God, a God that I wasn't seeing in the flesh, that he loves me, that he cares for me, that he wants to take care of me, that he wants the best for me. It was hard for me to believe that. It was hard for me to put my trust in the Lord. It was hard for me to let someone that I felt like I didn't have a best relationship, that I was disowning, that I was completely a failure to. And this is when I was thinking that thought, why would he want, like, why should I trust him? Like, I don't have a dad here. My dad clearly abandoned me, if that's the thing, like, you know what I mean? So why a God, why should I believe you want the best for me? And I was telling myself just to justify why I was acting the way I was acting, and I was blaming him. I'm like, my heart. Why can't you just put me with someone that cares for me? Why can't you just put me with someone that actually likes me, loves me, and not just loves me for my body, not just loves me for what he sees on the outside, but there's more in the inside. but I wasn't giving it to God. I was blaming the Lord, and I was blaming myself for just settling. You know, like I was mad at myself. It took a long time for me in my shame and guilt to forgive myself. I did not forgive myself, and I honestly was upset with the Lord as well because I couldn't forgive myself. And when I finally got over that, I had to tell myself, you need to get into therapy. You need to get delivered. You need to confess with your mouth. Outside of your little four walls, you need to confess. So I went ahead and I confessed to someone that I trusted. I confessed to someone that would understand. I confessed to someone that wouldn't judge me. I confessed to someone that I didn't expect to look at me any different or to even give me advice. I just needed someone to just confess to. I wasn't expecting anything out of it. I just needed to confess, because in the moments that I sat alone and I was crying, I felt empty. I felt dirty, and I hate having to use this word. I felt so dirty because I would be in a bed with someone that clearly did not value me at all, that did not claim me to be anything to them. And I would go out my way like nothing happened, but I'm deep down, I'm hurt. I'm feeling disgusting with myself. I couldn't look at myself for a while. And as a girl, we like to look at ourselves here and there. My self-confidence went at an all-time low. I did not know what my identity was in Christ. I felt completely disgusted with myself. I found myself, even if I wasn't with a guy, I was entertaining other things. I was looking up things I shouldn't have been looking up. And when I gave all that away, I felt renewed. I felt fresh. At a point, it was still hard because I would see guys and I'm like, okay. But there was a point in my life where, and right now I'm in the season where I'm just not like approached by certain men. And there's times as a woman, like, and God knows the desires of our hearts. We want to someday get married. We want to someday, be courted by a guy. But it's not happening right now. And I always look back and I find myself even thinking about like months ago, like when I was in a club, it was so easy for me to get a guy. It was so easy for a guy to talk to me. It was so like, you know what I mean? Like I found myself even like on a date night for like 2 days before, like, because that's how desperate, that's like the validation when I got lonely. And that's what I found myself doing years ago. I would be lonely, so I was entertaining things that just took that loneliness feeling for the time being, and then I'll go back into it because I wasn't putting myself in areas I should have been putting myself in. I wasn't putting myself in circles that I should have been in, and I was struggling with lust. I was struggling with my identity. I was struggling with with everything. I was just struggling emotionally. And when the enemy has a foothold over something and he knows what you're struggling with, and he hears what you're talking about, because you could be praying to God, but he hears you as well at what you're talking about. He's going to use that same thing every time to test you, to see if you're going to fall for it. And half the time, I feel like it's like God, because God knows my heart. He knows the desires of my heart. And he gave me discernment. And there was times I found myself being able to discern the moment. But you know what I did as a stubborn child that doesn't want to listen to her father? I would do the complete opposite. The complete opposite of what my mind is telling me. I know this is not the right call, but I would do the complete opposite. But when I tell you now, like, I pray, I want to consult God in everything that I do, because I was just jumping in situations where I wasn't putting God in the forefront. I wasn't letting him lead me. I wasn't trusting him as a father that knows best for his daughter. I was going ahead trying to control every and anything. And no relationship worked out for me. None. When I say none, and I feel good at 25 to know that I went through those things, because now I know better. You know what I mean? Now I know better. You learn to do better. You know what I mean? You learn to try better. You learn to do different. And yeah, we're still going to go through hiccups. I'm not saying the next person I meet will be my husband. Who knows? Like, I don't say that. Like, I truly believe not everyone is going to get married in life. You know what I mean? As much as we desire, we would want that, many of us will not. And I will trust that, God, if that doesn't happen, I love you. If it happens, I love you, because I know you want the best for me. But before me, you couldn't tell me that that's true. I didn't believe in that. Like, my identity was solely in a guy. Like, my validation came from a guy. Like, that's where it was at. Like, and I hated that. That was a thing for me. Like, I wanted the male, like, attention. I just wanted it. I wasn't a girl just, you know, posting myself in certain ways, but I just felt like I needed that. I needed it so bad that I craved it. And I always ask myself, where does it come from? Where did it come from? And now as I'm in therapy, now as I'm in friendships that people that are, you know, being pursued the right way, they'll tell me. And I'm getting the experiences, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like I'm living through other people. And as a 25-year-old woman, you're starting to see the baby showers, you're starting to see the proposals, you're starting to see the engagements, you're starting to see the marriages, the weddings, the everything. And it's just like, you know, God, when it will be my time, you know what I mean? But I'm happy that I'm getting to experience my singleness. I, at a point, wouldn't have had an apartment, and God gave me that. He blessed me with that. I get to do a lot of things now in my single season that I wasn't doing as a person that was just leaving everything for a situationship, dropping everything for a relationship. I wasn't able to be my authentic self. I didn't discover a lot of things about myself because I was abandoning myself to please others. So I feel like my single season is for a reason. Your relationship season is for a reason. Like, you know, we have different seasons of our lives, and I'm glad I get to do this too, because I get to have a season where I don't have a child, I don't have kids, I'm living alone, and it just feels like, you know, God, you're doing everything in the way that you know that it will work for me. You're doing it for my greater good. Like I said, like, I was struggling with lust. I couldn't even see myself right now living with a guy, and I wouldn't potentially been doing that. You know what I mean? So I truly believe that God has given me self-control right now in my walk. He's helped me to face certain situations because not too long ago, I was, you know, feeling like, you know, I wanted to get back into dating, and of course it failed. So I was like, you know what, God, because I was walking in it with my own will, not yours. I was just jumping in it because I felt, you know, I was ready. Granted, I was not. It didn't work out, but of course, I was a little heartbroken about it because I'm like, you know what, I want to be out there. I want to do this. I want to be able to, you know, have someone next to me, you know, but no. So I'm just sharing this, and I know I was kind of like all over the place. It's just so sudden that I had to bring this up tonight. I just want to share that any girl, any woman that is walking with the Lord right now, and even if you're not, and if you're a new believer, I encourage you that even if you're walking this walk and you're struggling with lust, and you're struggling with any sin right now, you're not alone. Like, you're not alone. It's just many of us don't want to talk about it because it just, you get the eye, you get that look. But as long as we're walking on this same earth with everyone else, there will be different things that you will fight, but there is power in repentance. There is power in confession. There is power saying that you need help. And I want to read something because last Sunday my pastor shared it. Give me a second. In Luke 15, verse 11 to 24. The son that went back to the father, and the father had his hands open. I'm just paraphrasing. The father had his hands open and allowing the son back that sinned, that was doing, you know, almost did the worst disgusting thing that he could possibly ever done, but he has done so much. But his father was waiting with his hands wide open, ready to take his son back in, welcoming his son, celebrating his son, because he found his son back. He got his son back. That's how the Lord is always having his hands open for us. He does not disown us. He does not look at us with a left eye like, oh no, I'm going to turn my back on this one. No, he's still there waiting for you to come back, because I always felt like I was so far gone that there was no way that I'm going to come back to the Lord. Like this, no, I can't do it. And I promise you, he has saved me in so many ways, because I could have lost my life. I could have been in far gone situationships that, you know, that he took me out of. I was the girl that got away. Yes, I was the girl that got away from a lot. And I can honestly look back now like, God, thank you. So I just want to say that you're never too far gone. Always come back, repent, confess. Let someone that you truly know, you trust, and speak about it, because your story can help someone else's. And this was something that I found so hard to like share with other people, but no, I just had to. So like I said, thank you for listening to this. You did not fall on this. I hope this does not fall on deaf ears. I solely feel like you clicked on this video for a reason, and I hope it helped you.